What's up, everybody? Happy Wednesday. It is March 30th. Can you believe it? Time is going so fast. This is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Forster, with my co host, Kevin Branzetti. I'm assuming Rich will be with us shortly. We might have some guests with us tonight. We have to definitely give our condolences to Chuck Richards' family. His mother in law passed away. So please send him some love if you get a chance. Also, Malika's girlfriend, Gary, her mother passed away. And my boy, one of my closest friends, Bobby Green and Darnell, their mother passed away. So there's a lot of death in the air. So, please love your neighbor, check on the elderly and stuff like that because people are transitioning and we got to make sure we look out for each other. What's up, Lena? How are you? Shout out to everybody that's chiming in. Stefania, we see you. This is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Forster, with my co-host, Kevin Branzetti, as of right now. And Real Talk is always sponsored by Soft Illusions Art Gallery, which is awesome. It's my wife's business, her and her mother's. It's sponsored by the Deadly Arts of Survival magazine, which is an awesome magazine. I am in this edition. So, just awesome magazines about martial artists all over the world. A lot of them I do know. I've been in martial arts 30 some odd years, uh, maybe even a little longer now. I'm scared to do the math. And it's sponsored by Melba's Wilson, Melba's Restaurant on 114th in Frederick Douglass. It is also sponsored by Chocolat, Leon Ellis, and Harlem Underground. So these are the sponsors. I will repeat them doing out tonight. And tonight's a free for all. We're going to talk about some stuff. I see Richard is coming in. Kev, how are you doing?
Good evening, Bill. Hello, everyone. I'm doing well. Excuse me, I'm doing well. It felt like it was starting to warm up just a little this evening.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right? Like,
that cold this week was just uncalled
I
for.
will repeat them doing out tonight. Oh, excuse me, everybody. Hold on. I apologize for that. I thought it was on silence. It was not. Yeah, man. So tomorrow's supposed to be 70 degrees, right? So
Yeah.
like what's that all about? Like 20 degrees the other night, 70 degrees this night. And I'll bring in my other co-host and see how he's doing. What's up, Rich? How are you doing today, brother?
You know me. I got the two C's.
Got the
Chance
two
and
C's?
choice.
That's what's up, man. Yeah, man. It's just so funny with this weather. We were just talking about this weather. And 1 minute it's 20 degrees at night, and the next minute tomorrow it's supposed to be 70 degrees. So people, please be careful. I even caught a little sniffle. You just got to be careful out here. Taking off clothes, keeping clothes off, trying to go to the gym, work it out. Shout out to Collins in the building. Florence, what's up, sis? Vivian, sister. Yes, Lena. What's up, Miss Green? How are you? How are you and Mr. Green doing? Stefani said, guys, what do you think about the roller coaster death? Is the amusement park legally responsible? Well, we'll let Kevin come back, but I mean, we can ask Rich that question. Did you hear about it? Vivian said so many people are walking around sick right now. Definitely. They also talked about Omicron. It's spiking in New York. It's at a 70% clip right now. So please, they're also talking about the booster. We'll talk about that. We'll ask Kevin and Rich what they think about that. John Cross is in the building. Also, the mayor is talking about, um, he's dealing with the homeless. That's a big thing right now. Hogel, Lieutenant, she is, I think she's getting she, either, correct me if I'm wrong, I have to check my emails. She's giving resistance on the bail reform. So there's some things that's going on. Alina Morales is in the building. What's going on? Mark, what's going on? John Cross said, when there is death at a park, there's always an investigation. Absolutely. Um, Kevin and Rich, Stefania wanted to know what you guys thought about the death at the amusement park. I'll start with you, Kev.
I mean, that's pretty a simple one, right? Of course, the amusement park's responsible.
Yeah.
It sounds like they weren't even supposed to let him on the ride. He was too big to be on the ride, and the one worker was like, come on, I'll let you on.
Yeah.
There's a reason there's limits on these things, and that's tough. The kid was a real big boy.
Yeah.
So you're there with all your friends, your family, and you can't go on anything. And you want to be a part of it, but there's a reason. There's rules.
It
was horrible to watch.
Yeah, it was. It really was. And the thing is, we're talking about maybe a form of discrimination because, like you said, he was a very big man. He was like 6'5", 300 pounds, correct? Yeah. Something of that magnitude. Now, Rich, I'll come to you with that question because you're 6'5", right, Rich?
Well, yeah, but I'm not familiar with what you're talking about, though.
A young man was in Florida and he went to an amusement park and he got on a roller coaster. I think the one that goes all the way up. Correct me if I'm wrong, Kevin. And I think when they dropped, like how they drop fast, the thing that harnesses him in came apart and he fell out and died.
Ooh.
He plummeted to his death. Yeah. Oh, and shout out everybody.
It's the largest one in the country.
Yes.
Tallest one. So it's one of those ones that takes you straight up in the air and gives you a free fall drop.
Yeah.
Oh, like a demon dropping Kings Island.
It's like a parachute drop, but
this one.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, and first let me everybody. Vanetta is hanging out with us tonight. She was with us.
Hi.
Hey Vanetta, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fabulous. Thank you. Yourself?
Good. We would Stefania brought that to our attention. We're going to talk about that, certain things like that. So I think
to your question, though, you asked me. Me personally, like you said, I'm 6'5". I weigh 270. I don't mess with heights. I'm scared of heights. I don't go in those things for that reason right there. I don't trust them. So, man, that's crazy. That just confirms my feelings about getting on rides like that.
Yeah, well, what's so funny? I mean, I don't know how many people out here are scared of planes and stuff like that. So a lot of things happen. All it takes is one time to get. You go on a plane. Everybody loves to travel. Some people love to travel, but like I said, they don't love planes. So, and all it takes is, God forbid, we hear about one crash, helicopter, plane, anything. And the first thing you're thinking, like, see, this is what I'm saying. So we always need certain things that keep us away from certain things, especially when it comes with fear. Because I've always said, you can get into an accident in the car and have a fatal accident. But I think some of us feel like we can control the car. It's our personal control. We can't control the people around us, but we can control the car. With that being said, when we're riding in a plane or, like you said, on one of these rides at amusement parks, it's in God's hands and the person that's orchestrating that machinery. So with that being said, Vanetta, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Shout out to everybody chiming in. I'm gonna give you some love in a minute. Tony, Tracy, Eunice Collins, James Baker, Rochelle. What's up, Norm? Tina King is in the building. Kenny, Joy Taylor. Shout out to everybody. And of course, my wife Malika, she's in the building. She's good.
Malika.
Allergies is acting up. What's up, Sharon? Hey, Cheryl. So, Vanetta, the question is that Stefania asks is the amusement park legally responsible? What do you think?
If he was told that he was too big and they know he's too big and they're breaking guidelines and a person comes back behind, another person said they broke guidelines. It's kind of a catch-22 situation because now that employee now has broken policy and procedure. And so now they're responsible, but guess what? They're an employee of the place they work for. So there could be 2 suits. They can sue that person personally and turn around and sue the amusement park, because guess what? They're representing the amusement park. Now, the amusement park themselves, are they to blame? No, because they have things written up saying that this is what is and this is what can't be. But unfortunately, you hire an employee, which is a representation of your amusement park, that broke protocol. They're going to end up having to pay a price. They are.
Well, I'm assuming that they will have to pay a price, right? What do you think, Kev? Right?
I go further, because I have a problem with the standard we treat with cops. Should the employee be arrested? He broke protocol, and the kid died.
Yep.
I mean, he went completely against the rules. He was hired to, he was trained to, and he said, "Nope, I ain't doing it. I'll let the guy go on," and the guy died.
So here's an elephant in the room, Kevin. What do you think? Do you think he should be arrested?
No, but it is a question of that standard.
He should lose his job.
It really sounded like the person working there was trying to be nice and like felt bad for the kid. Like, nobody else would let you on. I'll let you on. Let's go. Not the brightest move in the end, but it wasn't. Which also tells you he knew that he wasn't supposed to be on there.
So, is there any training involved with that job?
Absolutely. Everybody, any amusement park, you have training.
Yes.
So then his training tells him that there's a reason why that guy is too big to get on that
right.
Right? Yep. So he knows this from his training. So he took a risk on not just his life, it could have been on other kids' lives too that were on that same ride. Because who's to know how he falls? He could fall on another person way down. So if he's trained and he's properly trained and the company signs off on his training, that he's fully aware, he's properly trained, it's about safety, that means he's liable.
Yep.
And he was negligent.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because you have to sign off on that paperwork when you get high-rise places. Because I know we just right you're talking about, because in Ohio they have one of the amusement park. It's called Kings Island. They have the same ride, and it's called Demon Drop. So they have to sign agreements or policies and procedures that they agree. So once you sign that and you go and break it, then you kind of held liable. Yeah. He should lose his job for sure.
Oh, that's no question. It's a matter of, is he monetarily liable or criminally liable?
Well, the amusement park is monetarily liable.
No doubt, they're paying.
He is criminally liable because he's trained and he knows that this is a life-threatening ride here. Somebody can lose their life if someone goes on followed. And if he was properly trained and he took the course and he passed the course and he's aware, he's liable. Yeah. Criminally liable.
Yeah, I think there's a little more criminal here than some of the other things we've discussed in the past, because he intentionally, there's no question he knew.
His intent might not have been criminal.
No, his intent was never to hurt the guy. His
training told him what he did was criminal.
Yep.
Just like police officers,
You had to slide that in there, didn't you?
Yeah, he did it. He did.
I'm going to regret the video I have keyed up here.
Is that the 137 shot video?
No.
What?
Oh, we're not going there, huh? We ain't never going there, huh?
I can't hear you. The audio's bad.
Well, I want to hear it. 137 shots.
So I got, Bill, the other day I sent this to you. It was a video that cops in California doing a forced blood extraction for a gentleman.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Now we keep the background, right? We get court orders. This happens often. We're told to take a syringe of blood out of a human being.
Really?
Yeah.
Police officers?
100% court orders to do it. It's usually related to, like, you killed somebody driving.
Oh, okay. Wait. So,
So,
be
it's
specific.
a drunk driving, impaired by chemical, by drugs. So there's a court order. A judge signs off on an order saying, take 2 ounces of blood from this guy. Most
the police,
yes,
not a trained phlebotomist.
Right.
And they'll bring an EMS person or somebody to do the actual blood, but the cops we're the ones who enforce the order. Some people just comply.
But you don't take the blood. You just secure the person to get the blood drawn.
Yeah. Okay. So if somebody trained has got to take the blood, as long as you've been trained to take blood, you can take it.
Police officer.
It can be. In some places, it can be. It can be EMS. It can be a police officer. It can be a nurse.
But let's be clear on this, Kevin. The bottom line is those are certain situations, specific situations. This guy, not just drunk driving, and say he hits a pole. You don't have to take his blood.
No.
All right. Yeah, because when you started off, you made it seem like we could just go take people's blood.
No, it's a court order.
I was going to say, when they start doing that?
It's a court order to take the blood. It's what happens often, we get court orders to do DNA swabs on people. Some comply, and some even have to strap them down and force it. Right? So there's ways of doing it.
But wait a minute, when you say strap somebody down and force,
have you ever seen ESU strap somebody?
No.
So they have Velcro straps, right? And this happens with prisoners who just go completely, who go out of control. You see the prisoner this week they brought into court who had the mesh netting over his head because he was spitting on everybody. They put a mesh netting over his head.
Okay.
So they'll take Velcro straps and they'll strap your ankles together, your knees together, your thighs together, your arms to your side, your whole body. You're mummified.
Like you're in an electric chair.
Right.
Yeah. But then they might strap you to a board flat on your back and do it. You're like completely. I don't know about the electric chair being flat, but okay. More like Frankenstein. Right? You'll get strapped in to just stop you. And there are people who we've arrested and they're in a cell and they're just smashing their own face into the cell wall.
And I would let their ass do it too, because
we've all seen it. Like it happens, and you got to stop them. Right? You can't let them, continue to hurt themselves. So for NYPD, we would call ESU for that. They would strap the person.
Call it EDP. Call it EDP.
Strap them up.
Yep.
You could do the same thing. You could strap somebody up and take their blood. Once I have you mummified like that, taking your blood out of your arm is not too difficult. You're on your back. You're safe. You can breathe. You can do all these things. Now we'll go to this video.
All right. And if it's anything anybody out there in Real Talk Land, RTC Land, want to talk about, please let us know. Just type it in. We'll open it up for discussion.
There is a graphic warning on this. It does get. It is not a pleasant ending.
All right. So at the end, let's just be clear. This gentleman dies in police custody, and we all want your take on this. What you feel about this case? Ready, Kevin?
Yep. One of the things you will know. So the body camera was released. The sergeant body camera view, but time's missing. So we don't have a full time. Will knows I like to pay attention to those things.
Okay, that's.
Yeah, exactly. Get him.
That was the last time. If you resist, if you even, it's a court order. It's a court order. It's your choice. Okay.
How serious is this?
This is serious.
Why? For officers of enforcement.
Have a seat and provide your arm. This is your last opportunity. Otherwise, you're going face down on the mat, and we're going to keep on going.
I'm going to pause right there, Bill, for one quick thing. The statement he just said, he's going to go face down on the mat.
Yep.
What about when we, how do we lay somebody down?
On your butt.
Yeah, you never lay them down on their chest.
Can I ask you something?
I'll do it willingly.
Ask a question. Go ahead, Rich.
They got a court order this is taking place where? In the parking lot?
You see, they have like gym mats put on the floor.
But this is in the street?
Yeah.
It's got to be like in the parking lot of the precinct, in like the back, probably like a back gated area outside.
Okay, so they got the court order prior to arresting him?
No, my speculation, and I have to look this up. What happens is you get arrested. Say, Rich, the guy gets arrested, drunk driving, hits 3 people. He's then arrested. We'll get an immediate court order to take blood. Because you got to take blood fairly quickly.
Okay, but shouldn't that be in an environment that's sanitary?
Right. That's what I was thinking. Like
You can take blood anywhere. Look, it's just a matter of you wipe alcohol on the spot.
Kev, you're saying you can take blood anywhere. What does that mean?
Well, the environment is, as long as you clean the spot. As long as you clean the spot.
You ever get your blood taken in the street?
No, say no. Kevin. You know you ain't get your blood.
Have you ever had your blood drawn in the street,
through a
laying on the ground on a mat?
Being punched in the nose, does that count as having my blood drawn on the street?
No, it doesn't, because it's not you in your nose.
No.
Come on.
No, I've never had my blood forcibly drawn or drawn on the street.
No, whether it was voluntarily or forcibly, have you ever had your blood drawn on the street?
No. I would say all 4 of us have never had that.
There's a reason why.
Yeah.
It's not sanitary.
I'm not fine.
Possible
That was the only problem. Rich, if that was the only problem here, I'd be happy.
They already wrong doing this on the street. Mm-hmm. They're wrong by doing this on the street on a mat.
Proceed.
Look at the knee.
Brown his neck.
Well, he ain't got to worry about the blood drawing.
If this was 1983, I'd understand. Not knowing.
I'm good.
Stop it. Hear what he's saying? Stop it, Kev. Stop it. Do you hear what he's saying? He says, "I'll do it now."
He said, "I'll do it." Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess if you choke me, I'll do it too. You know what I'm trying to say? Like the crazy thing is, it's just like, a lot of times when we see things like this, it's like the old time when you were playing with somebody and you would twist their arm almost into a break, and then you say uncle or some shit like that. Like you're making this man give up blood who has a fear of needles. That's what I read in the article, that I think his daughter said he has a fear of needles, stuff like that. Which is obvious that this is some kind of practice in Florida that they just feel like, they want to draw blood for DWI. To my knowledge,
California.
To my knowledge, he did not kill anybody.
Yeah.
I think he just got caught on, I think, a DWI. I don't think he didn't even have destroy any public property.
I get. We don't know the whole length of the time they spent with this guy, right? That's missing. We have a short window. It could have been 30 seconds before this started, or this could have been 40 minutes into this. You have a certain time frame to take the blood. You give the guy a chance. He doesn't. You go and you take it. And I'm okay with going and take it. Like I said earlier.
Are you really? You're okay with that?
Would strap the person down using Velcro strap them down? Yes. This, no, I'm not okay with this.
So you're not okay.
And I get when when you start strapping somebody up and him saying, I'll do it. No, it's too late. I'm going to finish strapping. I'm just going to take it. And that's the end of it.
Let me ask you a question, Kevin. Let me ask you a question. And everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Forster, with my co-host, Kevin Branzetti, Richard Williams, and our special guest tonight, Bonetta Harris. And we ask anybody who ever wants to join these conversations, text me, inbox me, or anybody whom you're watching this from, and you can join these conversations. Real talk is real talk. It's your voice and ours. Why are you okay with this? You said
with not stop. No, I'm saying once I start to go strap you down, that's it. I'm going to strap you down. I can understand if you've given him time and time again, because then you start strapping. He's like, I'll do it. And you pull it off. And he's like, I'm not doing it. And then you put him back down and you strap him again. And he's like, all right, I'll do it. And you pull it. No, it's like, I gave you the opportunity. I'll strap you down. I'll take the blood and we'll be done with this.
I mean, they're approaching kind of aggressively.
Is that
based on what I see? I mean, so naturally, human being's going to get a little bit defensive. I mean, they had him sitting on the ground. There was no one trying to talk to him calmly. They were aggressive from the get-up.
That's the whole point. Thing is, we don't know, Vanessa. We are seeing 3 minutes and 3 seconds of this.
Okay.
Kevin.
It could be 4 minutes, the whole incident. It could be 45.
Hold on, Rich. Hold on before you ask your question. I just want to give some comments. Monday was off the charts, and I wasn't able to read comments, so I definitely want to give some love back to people. Tracy Morton says, you would have to see him as less than a human. Huh? Tracy Morton said, you would have to see him less than a human to even think you can treat him this way. Shout out to everybody's chiming. Joy said they should have stopped at that point. Nina said putting him on his chest is wrong. Shout out Anna Davis David is in the building. Lena said no ever gave blood on the street. No, never gave blood on the street. Stephanie said make it make sense. Tracy also said how inhumane. Cheryl said this is crazy and unsanitary. They should have taken him to the hospital. Okay, Rochelle, you got that meeting. Shout out to everybody. Link, Diane, everybody. Joy Taylor said, when did this happen and where? This was just like about 3 weeks ago, Kevin? Maybe
the tape's recent. I'll after we finish playing it, I'll shrink the screen so I can see the whole article. And I'll get the dates, but this is not all.
James Baker said nobody ever thinks about the consequences until something negative happens. That's why I talk to the youth I mentored. I tell them to think before you act or react.
He's talking about, because that was posted with the kid at the amusement park.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yes. I just wanted to read some of the comments.
Just to be clear, I'm not fine with this. What's going on here? What I'm saying is, in scenarios where I'm part of the team, where we talk to him, he wouldn't go, and we start strapping him, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll do it." Like if it's on, I'm going to do it.
But Kevin,
this is not okay. This is different. This is not okay. None of this is okay.
Okay, because the only reason why I say that is
I just want to be clear. I'm not okay with this. I'm not okay how they put him down. I don't understand this. Clearly, this is procedure here, right? Like they have a mat. They've done this before. So the fact that their procedure, and Rich, you jumped on it first, is outside. Like I said earlier, if that was the only thing that was bad here, we can live with this.
But
their procedure has them putting him down on his chest because they said, I'm going to put you down on your chest. We learned this decades ago. You cannot put a human being down on their chest and then put body parts on, put knees on top of them.
Right.
All I hear is lawsuit and you're fired.
Can I say something?
Go ahead, Rich. Go ahead, please.
Anybody that's ever had blood drawn, first of all, you have to stay still so they can tie you up where your vein pops out. Now, my mother, she has those kind of veins that don't pop out. They have to literally touch and feel her to feel where her vein is to make that incision, because you got to be precise.
Oh, yeah.
You can't have somebody squirming around that doesn't want to get their blood taken and take blood from them.
That's why I said the
it's
strap.
Impossible.
The mummified strapping.
You can mummify whatever you say,
and then I can get that arm. You can get it.
You can't. It's impossible, Kevin. You can't.
But it's done. It's done.
It.
You can say it's impossible.
Yeah, it's done. He's dead. You're right. He's dead.
This is not done right.
He's dead.
No.
You can't do it.
This is not done right.
You mean to tell me they can hold you down, and properly make that incision in that vein to draw blood, and you don't want them to, without you being unconscious?
Yep.
I hear that.
Show me that one. We're gonna try that one day, Kevin. We're gonna go ass down. Shove that shit in you.
Security said, you go, hold him down and stick a needle in his ass, right? And throw him down and shit.
I think Rich is the.
He said, I got it, Cap.
Stop squirming.
Yeah, exactly. Get off me.
They'd have been better off. Look, like you said, they'd have been better off punching him in the nose and holding a cup to his nose like this.
Yeah. So the crazy thing about this, look how many cops there are in this situation, and this is bonkers. And like I said, so it's obvious in LA, it's California, if it's DWI or if they feel like they have cause to draw blood, this is what you're expected when you go to California. That's basically what this shit is. Go ahead, Kevin, continue playing it. Let's see what happens.
All right, give me a second. I paused it for a second just to give everybody a chance to, if you don't want to watch this part, mute your thing or hide.
Poking you, nobody's doing anything. Dude, relax.
You pussy.
Oh wow.
Sure, you got this on.
Now you want to hold him up like he's a human being.
Get the AED out. Connect that sucker up.
He urinated on himself.
He done went into shock.
Yep. Yeah.
Lord God.
There's a lot of time. You can tell there's a lot of time in that video because I think even the article, I'll find it once I stop sharing. They took too long to get the machine out and try to resuscitate him.
But they had that needle ready though, right? And how can you take blood adequately with someone face down? How do you do that?
It's a 16-minute video, but we only got 3.
Oh.
I mean, how like somebody said, inhumane.
An officer then asked for CPR to be given, but that's 11 minutes after his last scream.
But now this is the funny thing. Now think about this, everybody in RTC land. Check this out. They're trained to take blood, which they were going to forcefully do, but they're not trained to give CPR. Help me figure this shit out, right? I mean, think about that.
Well, there's a paramedic there with him who's that. Like, I'm assuming that's what the guy in the gray was, who was taking the blood.
Yep.
But who was taking a long time just to check his heart.
Past all the knees and the choking to do anything.
I don't understand. Like, I get on the street, things can go haywire and wrong, and you can, and we can have it all. This is not on the street. This is trained procedure. And I don't understand how trained procedure can be put a man on his stomach, pile on him to draw blood.
But that is in the street.
You know, Rich, what I mean on the street is like I'm fighting with you to get you under arrest, right? Like I mean,
well, they were fighting with him to take his blood.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's, you know, things can go haywire in a hurry. This is their procedure to put him on his stomach. And I'm sorry, I could talk to 1,000 cops across this country, and 999 of them are going to tell me.
Where were they drawing the blood from?
His arm.
Right.
Now, I was trying to get a visual on where they were actually taking the blood from. Was it his arm?
Yeah, his forearm.
It was his forearm. It was a forearm.
Yeah, that's usually where you get your blood taken, from your forearm.
Yeah.
But in the crease.
But he's
they
face
weren't in
down.
the crease. Face down. How can you get the needle in the crease?
In the dark.
Right. They had a
struggle.
flashlight, but come
Dark,
on.
in a struggle.
And you're right, Bill. It was just a regular DWI. It wasn't even somebody.
This is wrong on so many different levels. They should be fired immediately. And unfortunately, because of them taking his life, the family's going to laugh all the way to the bank. And it's unfortunate that it took. Come on.
So, Kev, let me ask you a question, Kev, and I'll go around and ask the panel. Kev, should they be fired?
They have to be. And I'm going to go further. Whoever's in charge, who created this training, needs to be fired. Whoever said this is the procedure has no clue what they're doing.
Now, what about criminally? Should they be charged criminally? Should they be charged criminally?
I need to see the whole video.
Really?
I know.
We got to chime in, and then Rich, you can chime in.
Are you serious?
You know what kills me with this, Vanetta? That it sounds like it was their procedure. Like, if that's what they're being told to do. All right, I'll still go back to the beginning of the video. And I stopped it at it. The sergeant told the guy, you don't stop, we're going to put you down on your stomach.
Yeah. But I would love to know if that's their procedure. Because if that's the case, then whoever wrote that procedure, every last one of them need to be reprimanded and take their pension to pay their family.
Because, when did this happen? I got to really think about criminal on there. And
what state is it in? What state is this in?
The procedure didn't say
California.
that. The procedure doesn't say that. It's absolutely criminal.
Hey, Kevin, let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Is there anything that a police officer does that should be criminal?
There's lots of things, except for whipping your ass.
Whipping my ass, right?
Your ass. Just yours. No.
Because it's like,
no, I mean, really, Rich. Honestly,
they killed this man.
That's what they're taught to do.
So, okay, my mother always used to say this: if I tell you to jump off the roof, you gonna jump?
If that's what they're taught to do, it's different.
No, it ain't different, because if they told them, hey, jump off the roof, they're not jumping.
They're not jumping.
Okay, then.
Why?
Common sense tells you.
Vivian said a great point. Vivian Garcia said a great point. She said, how many men have been killed in that format? Cheryl White says, yes, they should be charged criminally and prohibited from working in any other precinct. Tracy Morton says, blood to be drawn, person is dead. It's murder. Joy Taylor said, wow, Kevin, it's what we saw. It isn't what we saw enough. Tracy said, see the whole video, like question mark, what the F? Diane Hayes says, yes, they should be charged. She said, this is BS. So Sharon says, when did police start taking blood? I must have missed something. So, yeah, everybody.
Well, check this out. I'm on a computer. So I asked a question as far as, in California. Warrants for BAC tests in Los Angeles. It says recent changes to the law in California allow police officers to order a blood draw without a warrant in some cases.
But
when the person's unconscious.
Yes, unconscious.
No warrant.
Okay.
Unconscious.
Yeah.
I just read that myself.
Yeah, and then I think it's like likely too, right, Kevin, or something? Or if likely, it doesn't make it. Yeah.
But this one needed an order.
Look, drawing the blood is, that's something that you can argue whether they should or shouldn't. But if they decide legally that you can do that, it should be in a controlled environment that's safe for the person that you're taking the blood from.
And let me say something. Let me interject, everybody. First and foremost, let's be abundantly clear. If you're drunk, by the time they get you to a hospital, in a matter of minutes, your blood alcohol level is not going to drop significantly, like 10 decimals or points. You know what I'm saying? Like if you blow a 08 or 9 or 11, when you get to the hospital to take blood, or they have EMS come to the precinct, wherever that, or they have EMS on the scene to take the blood, it's not like you're going to drop from a 12 to a 2. No, so that's crazy. Now the thing is, we know water dilutes liquor, but they're not going to give him water. They're not going to give him
water. Doesn't dilute it in your blood.
I mean, I'm just saying, but you know how they say water. But that's the old cliche.
What I believe this. Look, they've been taking blood for a long time, forcibly for a long time. Courts have upheld this for a long time. And I believe where it stems from is we lose the majority of drunk driving trials. People beat them all the time.
Really? I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. So the breathalyzer, the street test, people win these. You don't beat the blood.
Well, I mean, let me say something. Florence said, how does a person know that it's legal to take blood? That's a good point.
We're giving him a warrant. He's got a copy of the warrant. Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, people don't care. Well, I'm assuming she wants to know, like, if you get pulled over now, anybody gets pulled over for drinking or driving, whatever. I mean, for DWI, and somebody says, "I want your blood." The average person, I would be like, "Yo, I'm not giving you my blood." You know what I'm saying? Because I'm under the impression. I'm gonna spill the beans right now. If God forbid, I get pulled over for drunken driving,
which would never happen because we don't do it.
No, exactly, absolutely, it's not going to happen. And they talk about, yo, I want your blood or something. I'm not giving it. Well, I'm gonna arrest you. Well, come on, take me in. Because by the time you get this blood,
the cops on the street won't demand your blood. They're gonna arrest you. They got to go to court and got to get a judge to sign off.
Exactly.
But you also have, like, Jehovah's Witnesses. You can't just take their blood.
Nope. Yeah. Sure can't. You breaking their religious rights. Yeah. You could have shot and killed somebody. You breaking their religious rights. I'm looking for some stuff, y'all. I'm looking.
Go ahead. Good looking. Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Forster, with my co-host, Kevin Branzetti.
And I want to clarify a little bit further.
Williams.
Like, while I'm giving some things and, like, I'm saying I'm a little on the fence, I want to see the whole video. I don't give it a lot of hope after seeing the whole video that my opinion will be well of these cops.
But what would you see that would change it?
I want to see the time. I want to see who put what, how they held them down, what the sergeant told them to do. And I want to see all those things. How long did it actually take them to stop?
Oh, here we go.
Oh, you know what I want to see?
Take them to stop what?
And how long did it take them to start? Does it give the ME? That's what I want to find. What did the ME say the death was from? That's because I thought.
Well, they'll probably say the alcohol killed them.
So I don't even know what the hell this. Acute methamphetamine intoxication during restraint by law enforcement. Whatever the hell that means in the end.
That means that it wasn't the cop's fault. He'll get off.
So, acute methamphetamine intoxication during restraint by law enforcement.
There you go. So, cop gets off. Had nothing to do with that knee in the neck.
They also said you can't draw blood from Jewish people too.
That's right.
Okay, Bill, I just sent you something on Facebook.
Okay. What you want me to do with it?
It's well, so I'm trying to get something very specific according to California on an unconscious person. And I'm not getting anything specific concerning California. But one thing I did pull up, it says, can cops draw your blood while you're unconscious? Divided Supreme Court says maybe. So it depends on the particular. So there's a case that was in Wisconsin by a gentleman who was on a DUI investigation. And he fought all the way to the Supreme Court. And it's speaking about the Fourth Amendment. There are exceptions to the warrant and requirements. On such exception known as exigent circumstances applies in emergencies or where the destruction of evidence is likely and imminent. In this case, the exception generally applies according to the Supreme Court. Oh, so this is a drunk driving offense.
Yes.
I'm still looking, y'all. I'm still looking, though.
So, Kevin, Joy wants to know: didn't you see enough? Like, I guess you really want to see. You're looking for time. Can you explain to Joy or and RTC people what are you actually looking for, Kevin? When you say you're looking for the time,
I want to see the whole video. I want to see how long, who pushed where, what happened. Does it look good? No. Do I think in the end the charges are inevitable? Yeah. And you know me, Bill. It always pains me to say, but I don't understand why. From the beginning, I don't understand why they did this. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
I don't see. Doesn't see anything the officers have been charged.
No. While Kevin does that, I just wanted to run down some more sponsors. Real Talk Chronicles is sponsored by Melba Wilson. Melba's Restaurant is sponsored by Chocolat Restaurant on 120th Street. It's also sponsored by the Daily Arts of Survival magazine. It's sponsored by Soft Illusions Art Gallery. And it's also sponsored by Ingram Taxes. If you need your taxes done, you know it's that time of the season, Ingram Taxes. No client is too small or too busy to get their taxes done. Reach out to Ingram Taxes if you need them. Put their information in. So shout out to Ingram Taxes in the building, always showing love, sponsor. I think so many things cause people to always say, like, damn, I mean, like, here we go. We're talking about, this kind of stuff. You know what I'm trying to say? Like drunk driving. You know what I'm saying? Like, what
I'll tell you, like, I know a lot of cops who for the last year are absolutely refusing to do these.
But so you're saying that this is New York State? Like,
a lot of states do it. The court order, yeah. And I know they just they take the prisoner out, hang with him for a little bit. He says no, and they take him back. They want no part of it.
Well, I thank God I've never had.
Jesus.
Who's asking for it? Who's asking for this court order? The district attorney? What? Who?
In some cases.
Okay. But let's get to the point of how do we get to this court order? Because see, it just sounds like it's not like cops are not walking around with a court order in their back pocket.
Well, that's what my question was. Who's asking for this?
That's a great race.
What's that noise?
I'm sorry.
All right. Mute yourself until you get that together, V.
Sorry.
So, yeah, it's okay. Shout out to Brian. What's up, Earl? How you guys doing? Adrian, I see you, AJ, in the building. So let's understand. Vanetta, when you're doing your research, or Kev, let's find out what are reasons where an officer can get a court order to draw blood, because that'll segue into Like, go ahead, Vanetta.
Okay, so under California law, any person issued a state driver's license is required to consent in writing to submit to a chemical test or blood, breath, or urine test if under lawful arrest for driving under the influence to determine drug and alcohol content. In other words, if you have a California driver's license, you have already consented to take a breath, blood, or urine test if under arrest for drunk driving. Now, this is known as California's implied consent law. But there's a Supreme Court ruling that found that drawing blood on a DUI suspect without a warrant is a violation of the Fourth Amendment right. While police have to notify the person that failed to submit a test could result in a fine, mandatory imprisonment, and license suspension. A person technically can refuse a test and ask for a warrant under their Fourth Amendment rights, according to the Supreme Court ruling, Birchfield versus North Dakota. Now, it goes down. California implied consent laws are still the law, but due to the recent Supreme Court rulings, the law can be deemed unconstitutional. There are very many exceptions to California implied consent laws. Even if a person is unconscious or dead, they are still deemed not to have withdrawn his or her consent, and a test or tests may be administered whether or not the person is told that his or her failure to submit to or the non-completion of the test or tests will result in the suspension or revocation of his or her privilege to operate a motor vehicle. If y'all caught all that.
No.
Okay.
He said no.
Okay, let me see if I can send this to y'all, the part that I'm reading. But it looks like, according to California, based on what I'm reading, what I'm getting, that once you have a California state law, you've already agreed to these tests, regardless if you're under the influence of any kind of substance, because you have a California driver's license. But the Supreme Court, according to a Supreme Court case, is saying that this may not be the case anymore because you're in violation of a person's Fourth Amendment rights. But it seems like California don't care, but that's why they're being questioned concerning their law, according to the Supreme Court.
That's why this is a court order. So what California law was saying, cops could do it without the court order. You've already consented.
Right, because you have a California.
Cops aren't going by that. They went and got the court order. The court order was done.
So, so they went and got a court order, right, Kevin?
Yeah, there's a court order in this one. So this is not.
What is the court order for? I mean, what happened?
It's a search. It's a warrant to force. It's a warrant to draw blood from that person's body.
But is there a reason why they're doing it? Do we know that?
It's to prove the drunk driving.
Okay, so this goes with what I was saying then. Absolutely. So because he has a California driver's license, he's already consented.
Yeah, but hold on. There's three
they
things.
didn't accept the consent. They still got the warrant.
He consented. He can consent to a breathalyzer, a blood test, and what was the other one?
Let me find it.
There's three things.
There were three things.
Because he doesn't have to give up blood. He just has to do one.
No, he does not. He does not. There's three options he can choose: breath, blood, or urine.
Yeah. So they didn't give him the chance.
They didn't give the option.
But they weren't doing that. They weren't doing it under that. They have a court order to draw blood.
But this is where what's missing to me. How did they get a court order so fast?
Oh, I'm sure this is done very fast. Once you're arrested,
I'm sorry.
But to come on, if anybody was in highway to do this,
but I think Vanetta was saying that
very quick.
Having the driver's license, you already submitting to consenting.
That's been taught.
However, as I stated, recent Supreme Court rulings have found that drawing blood on a DUI suspect without a warrant is a violation of his Fourth Amendment rights.
Yeah.
When the police have to notify a person that failed to submit a test could result in a fine, mandatory imprisonment, and license suspension, a person technically can refuse a test and ask for a warrant under their Fourth Amendment rights, according to Supreme Court ruling. Now, the difference is they went and got a court order.
Yeah, they got the warrant. It's already done. Yeah, but it's already done.
So that tells me that they wanted to draw blood.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. They wanted to draw blood.
Think about this, Kev. I mean, and now and everybody out there listening, think about this. When I say they wanted to, why? It wasn't. What was the severity of the case? It wasn't like he killed people. It wasn't like he hit public. Hold on, Kev. It wasn't like he destroyed public property. It's not. He didn't destroy private property. He got pulled over just driving drunk.
Yeah. My question then becomes: is that their do they do it for every drunk driving? Probably
not.
I'm gonna argue with that, and I'm gonna try to figure out
why.
Well,
why are you going to argue with that, Kev?
Because I don't know why we'd say they would. This was just if they did it for this, which was a regular drunk driving, no accident, no injuries, fatalities, and they did it for this, then the procedure is going to be for every drunk driving.
Well, you know what? This is to anybody out there.
And I said, as government, well, whatever you want to call it, prosecutors, they lose the majority of these.
Vanetta, can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Can you find out what's I don't, because I don't know, I don't recall, I don't remember. What is the New York State rules for drunk driving, or getting arrested for drunk driving or something like that? Because the bottom line is, anybody out here in New York or wherever you live and wherever you're listening from, Florida, New York, let me see. I know I got people all over here. You need to find out what the rules are.
Mm-hmm.
If you're driving, and this could happen to you, and all of a sudden somebody say, "I want to draw blood," because I'm going to say, "Get the F out of here." You know what I'm saying? like yo, I'd be like, "Yo, grab a Johnson, Captain." You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, listen, you're not touching me. I'm not allowing that. So we're not doing any drawing Bill blood here. We're not doing that.
They would have duct taped you, Bill.
Listen, well, there'd have been a whole lot of duct taping because I didn't. We say it in jest, but the thing is, when we see situations where somebody, because I think, let me see how I can say this. It's almost like when people say things now, sometimes I think officers feel people just cry wolf. Maybe some people do, because people, like I heard somebody say this one time, they was like, "Oh, well, if a person can say I can't breathe, that means he can't be talking." But sometimes you can spew out things like that, like "get off, I can't breathe." It doesn't mean you can actually breathe and sing a song. I think people are delusional with certain things of that magnitude. Saying I can't breathe might be my last breath. You know what I'm saying? My last words of the breath that I have. So this man did not, I don't know. I didn't hear him say that he was fearful of needles. It really, I guess it doesn't matter. It didn't matter to the officers. They were going to take it anyway. It took them to knee him on his neck and another officer hold his head down where he couldn't breathe for him to say, "I'll give you my blood." Where do we go with that? Now, if what we're reading now from what Vanetta is saying and Kev, if this is California law, then this law is effed up all the way around.
Yes, it is.
It is effed up. So that means they could do that to a woman, man, child, anybody.
I don't see where it makes a difference if it's a man or woman. But
no, well, that's what I'm saying, man or woman. I mean, sometimes people may have a bleeding heart for a woman, Kev. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But I mean,
you don't have some sympathy for women, Kev. You toss in the same week, guys. Equal opportunity. You an equal opportunity ball buster.
Yeah. There he is. That's him. That's Kevin Branzetti.
You're not down with the no women, no children thing.
Yo, Rich. You'll bust your balls and pull your bra all at the same time. He don't give a damn. They'll pull your bra in a minute too. He'll be like, yo, snap. He don't give a damn about the damn bras. Kevin's like,
Kev's driving by. Watch your back.
here come Kevin Branzetti, ladies.
How long you been holding that thing waiting to use that? What, she bringing in props now?
Man. He don't care what kind of bra you got. He got you. You know, you can see Kevin. You can see Kevin now. Imagine Kevin in the old Western town. I don't care about you, lady.
Yeah, anybody can get you for a blue uniform, right?
Listen, I'm sure Kevin don't discriminate. I'm sure.
If you wear a blue uniform, he do.
Well, you know, I mean, yeah. Listen, you know, Kevin wear that. You know, Kevin righteous with that blue now. You know.
I know. I ain't mad at him.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. I used to always ask Kevin, and I still ask him to this time. I ask any law enforcement person. You know, I've never got to the point where I understood where they galvanized with a fraternity over just ethnicity or people. Let me tell you something. In all fairness, they are law enforcement officers. They don't care if you white, black, Spanish, Jew, Gentile. They don't care what you are. If you go against blue, you wrong. There are some officers like that. There are some that are more. If you black or Latin, you definitely wrong. But there are definitely some that, if no matter what your ethnicity is, if you go against a police officer in any form or fashion, they do not care. Correct, Kevin?
Yep.
Question: what does DWAI stand for? DWAI.
Driving while
The A stands for something.
Yeah, cool.
DW.
AI.
Not
DWI. DWAI.
Driving while ability impaired.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
That's what they say. That's the new thing they call like a
To
buzz.
receive DWAI, you must have consumed one or more controlled substances or combined both drugs and alcohol.
Okay. Okay.
So now let's be fair. Now check this out. We can go down this road. You know, we can definitely go down this rabbit hole. People that have those medicinal, you know, you can smoke weed, right?
Yeah.
You get behind that wheel and you get a cocktail. You know what I'm saying? You start singing off cue. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You look at those, right? If I arrested somebody who was, and we all know somebody who's clearly high, right? Like this, you can see it. The only way to prove it is the blood test.
Yeah.
Okay.
There is no other way.
But Joe, you got some people that just can't drive, even though they got a license. They're not good drivers.
They're not.
But I know a lot of people that got a license.
I cursed a lot of them.
They won't even get on the highway because their skill is not good enough to get on the highway. But they pass the test. You know, they don't like to drive no long distances. They just can't drive that well, but they have a license.
But Rich, there are people that, I mean, like officers. You know, this is why sometimes when you start talking about DWI, and you know when the regular officer pulls somebody over because people have allergies. People come home from work, they're tired. So you know you can start yawning because if you all know the worst time to have an accident is when you're tired, more than drunk. You know what I'm saying? If you ever driven home when you're tired, really tired, listen, that's the hardest thing to ever do. And not even talking about liquor.
Just
like
you know,
right? You know what I'm saying?
At the stoplight. I'm at the light.
And that's
naughty.
And that's my point. So right now, it is hard. I never forget one time I got pulled over. You know, cops are on the highway, and next you know he pulls me over, and I'm like, yeah, what's going on? And he was like, something about, were you drinking? I was like, no, why would you ask me that? Oh, you look like you were swerving. Well, I got to go from one lane to another lane to get off at the damn exit. Come on. I just like, come on, dude. You know what I'm saying? So it just, sometimes,
I used to suffer from sleep apnea, and I was a drunk.
Oh, wow.
I was like a drunk driver every day. I couldn't stay awake. I drive into work constantly. Well, drive home constantly falling asleep.
Really? I never knew that.
I have a friend, her boyfriend, the same thing.
Yeah.
Sit in the meeting, go.
So then let me ask you a question. Do you have a note, or is just that when they saw you?
So I looked at a couple of things for us. New York, Summary of New York impaired intoxicated driving statutes. So the DWAI is one, DWI is one. It depends.
Hold that thought. Mm-hmm. Everybody out there, be careful. I've seen a lot of people, and Kev, correct me, or you can state what this is, because I'm sure that's what this law is right now. I've seen people come home looking for a parking space, because this is what happens in New York City. You driving around looking for a parking space, and you may have been out hanging out, and you sat there waiting for a parking space at the pump, and next thing you know, cops knocking on your window because you dozed off. Mm-hmm. And next thing you know, you're getting arrested for DWI. Mm-hmm. Or what is it called? Driving while
under the influence, or driving active. What is DWA? They didn't even tell me what DWA means, but they're mirroring DWA and DWI together according to New York State. Yeah. So there's certain levels to the DWI. Depends if it's your first offense, or your second offense, or aggravated DWI, which is a misdemeanor, a felony DWI, which is second DWI, or your DWA, drugged within 10 years, a Class E felony. So DWAI, drugs misdemeanor. So specifically as far as DWI is concerned, the first offense, you get a fine between $500 to $1,000 plus surcharge, up to a year in jail or both, 2 to 3 years probation, mandatory revocation of your driver's license for at least 6 months, DRA, whatever that is, of $250 a year for 3 years. Discretionary.
Restricted driver's license. That might have been a restricted driver's license, because sometimes you can get if you work and you need your license to work, they get you a restricted driver's license. I don't know if they still do that, but sometimes. Yeah.
Okay, discretionary imposition of a victim impact panel and a IID, I don't know what that is, in any other motor vehicle that you own or operate during the term of probation or unconditional discharge, and in no event for less than 6 months. Now, your second offense within 10 years or a prior DWI or DWAI, person can be charged with a Class E felony, but even if charged as a misdemeanor, the following can apply: a fine of $500 and $1,000, 2 years in jail, both 2 to 3 years probation, mandatory revocation of your driver's license for at least a year, 18 months where the prior conviction was the aggravated DWI, discretionary imposition of a victim impact panel, and the other thing. Okay. Aggravated DWI misdemeanor, a fine of $1,000 to $2,500 plus surcharge, up to a year in jail or both, 2 to 3 years probation, mandatory revocation of driver's license for at least a year, a DRA of $250 a year for 3 years, discretionary imposition of a victim impact panel, and the motor vehicle you own or operate during the term of probation or conditional discharge, and in no event for less than 6 months. Then you have a felony DWI. I won't even go into that. Then you have the DWAI. I won't even go into. I'm not talking about that. Now, statutory drunk driving presumptions, implied consent laws, test permitted, blood, breath, urine, and saliva. Consent is implied for one or more of those tests. Type of advisement required. Administrative revocation of driver's license. Refusal can be introduced as evidence against the accused in the criminal trial. Chemical test laws. Let me see. Okay, chemical test law. General provisions. Evidence of the amount of alcohol in the person's blood at the time in question, as shown by chemical analysis of a sample of the person's breath, blood, urine, or saliva is admissible on the issue of whether the person had an alcohol concentration in the range specified, provided the sample was taken within 2 hours after the event to be proved. Blood drawing statute, independent stat. Oh, this is long. Oh gosh.
Oh yeah.
Figure out whether it's legal.
The moral of this story is
Like
don't drink and
killed or
drive
what?
and shit. Yeah, because that shit.
Right.
Because he's dead. You know.
So
Yeah,
it looks like
exactly.
New York State isn't as bad as California, but I'm gonna get a little more specific though. So y'all,
we're gonna even do better. We're gonna switch the topic. We ain't got to talk about this shit no more. The bottom line is, everybody, if you're in California, you already know what it is.
But those cops should be charged with murder.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. They
Kev,
should be.
I know Kev wants to see more video footage. I know.
Yeah, he needs more footage.
I know.
So you need to see more footage past the death or before the death?
I need to see
I'm
the whole
asking
thing.
for a friend.
Does it look good? Am I saying to you, does it look good? No. Does it look like something they should be charged? I think in the end, yes, it'll be my decision, but I want to see the whole thing.
I tell you what, hold on.
And
Let me
who's charged? Do you charge all of them?
No, let me get the footage out of the vehicle and look at it. And then I'll tell you as soon as I get the footage out of here.
Really?
And we can figure it out from here, right? Maybe there's something in here that can clear them.
Well, you know, everybody Real Talk Chronicles.
This is what it's gone to.
It's taking a turn for the worse. We got toy cars and little Muppets.
Little buddy. You never watched Elf?
Yeah,
I said Will Ferrell.
That is Will Ferrell.
Yeah,
That's my little buddy.
Let me ask you guys a question. I had started off earlier talking about the homelessness, and I know, Mayor Adams is now trying to step up the process of getting rid of, putting homeless people in places of if I can even use this word, comfort, shelters and stuff like that. Some don't want to do this, but let me ask you. First and foremost, do you think it's a good idea what he's doing now, or do you think, and how much do you think homelessness is involved in crime? And I'll start with you, Vanetta.
Ooh, that's a big question. Some people are homeless not by choice.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you put them in these centers, what are you doing to help them to get out of that homeless state? You just can't put them somewhere and just leave them.
Right.
What are you doing to rehabilitate them, to maybe help them to become better people in society, no longer being homeless? So you just can't do that and then not further the steps and representing them no longer being homeless. So I have an issue with that. Second, a lot of these people, it has gotten, since the pandemic, the homelessness has gotten so bad. It's so, I've seen it getting worse in Jersey. It's so bad here. And to just see these people just laying on the street, it has gotten bad. I think he's trying to do better, but you have to have a follow-up. You gotta have a plan. You can't just put them up in the shelter.
What do you think, Rich? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you was finished. I apologize.
So you can put them in a shelter, but can that create possible criminal activity? Yes, within the shelter, because somebody went out and begged for money and got $5 on the next person, and they want their money because they haven't eaten all day. So yeah, that can breed crime.
Yeah. Do you think it can have crime out in the street, just in the street in general too? I mean, people out here.
Yes. How many homeless people have we heard about getting people homeless people pushing people onto tracks, stabbing them, choking them, smacking them?
Right.
I mean, crime is everywhere, but when you don't have people, when you don't give people an outlet to be better, then if their life ain't important, they gonna see yours is important either. So you gotta have a follow-through plan. You just can't just put people in the house and just leave them there. That's not the answer.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Rich?
I think we're talking about two different things here when we're talking about homelessness, because there's different levels to this. You have people that are homeless, like Renetta said, because they fell on hard times. Then you have people that are homeless because they were removed out of those facilities that they cleaned out years ago, that they were housing people that had mental illness. And you have a combination of people that are homeless that have mental disease, substance abuse, and they're comfortable living in the environment that they're living in. You know, I participated in this week. I got a call from NYPD asking me to come out because they had to remove a gentleman off 145th Street who was living inside of his car with a pit bull. Now, this guy's been out there for about, to my knowledge, about 4 years. He's a couple of spaces down from Nan. They tried to help him with housing 2 years ago, last year rather, and the year before that, I tried to help the brother with housing. And when I say try to help him, I got him placement. I had got him placed in a house. All he had to do was fill out the paperwork, and he didn't do it. The second time they came to him, interviewed him at his house, which was the car he was living in with his dog. His stipulations that any place he lived, he had to be able to take his dog. They agreed to that. We even brought ASPCA out there to properly vaccinate his dog and give him his shots so he can be licensed, I guess you call it, or whatever you call it. But the dog would have his papers. He wouldn't allow them to do it.
But let me ask you a question. Why doing all that? Why? I mean,
Could have hired guys in LA in California to give the dog the shot.
See, Kevin making a joke.
I said he could have hired the cop to give the dog a shot.
They could have made him take the shot, right? No, but my point is that this particular individual did not want what was being offered because in his head he had a house. This was his house, that car. He said the only person they fine with that is you. You know, we're not fine with his accommodations, you know? So you take somebody like him off the street, which is what we did, and they took his dog. The dog went willingly. I mean, and this dog, if you saw this dog, the dog looks vicious, but he's actually a good dog. You know, they had to take the dog. You know, they walked up to the car, petted the dog on the head, and told him to get in the cage. He just walked in the cage, wagging his tail. He was glad to go. Yeah. And when the guy saw that happen,
the dog was tired of living on that corner.
Yeah.
On that block.
Yeah. The guy comes running.
I can go to ASPCA and get three meals in a cot. Yeah,
in a blanket.
No, you know what I'm saying? The dude came running to try to get the dog to attack the cops. He said, attack, and the dog is wagging his tail, running in and say, yo, get me away from him.
Yeah.
And then they wound up having to tase this guy to get him to calm down because he was trying to fight the cops to get the dog. Now, they were towing his house away, which was the car. He was resisting all of that. And at the end of the day, we got in touch with his caseworker. His caseworker said he has a place. He just never goes because he refused to take any part of his money that he gets for his disability because some partial of it goes to the house, the apartment he's living in. And he doesn't want that. He wants his whole check. He's supposed to be on meds. He chooses his own meds, which is alcohol and marijuana over whatever it is they prescribe. He was actually standing there smoking a joint in front of the police, you know, telling them how he ain't going to do this and he ain't going to do that. Yeah. So they called the EMS tranquilized him, put him in the van. And this is the first time I found out, once you guys deploy those tasers, they have to take it out at the hospital. You don't take it out. So those wires, they just dangle on you till you get to where you're going, and then they take them out of you. But they moved him off the street, but he doesn't want to be in an apartment.
Right.
He wants to be where he wants to be.
So the question Because there's a lot of those guys.
Because this
Yeah,
getting a little,
finish.
this getting a little long-winded and shit.
I'm
I'm trying to find out where we go.
I'm just giving you an example of the condition of this guy. Now, I've helped place families that were homeless in shelters in facilities where they got apartments now.
Right.
You know, but those are different things. You got crazy people mixed in with non-crazy people.
You stupid, Bill.
I know I took you on a ride.
The moral of the story is he still out there? Is he gone? Because I know he's gone.
But now he's gone.
Right.
Now.
Yeah,
but he was hanging out in the Dunkin' Donuts with that dog, scaring all the customers.
Absolutely. Nobody wanted to go get no Dunkin' Donuts from that place because he would be out there panhandling all the time.
Right.
And he like acts nice. He was like, "Yo, can I get that change?"
Exactly. Yeah. He'll press you. So
some people choose to be in that position because they don't want to pay anything to the establishment. They figure before I give you anything, I prefer to be homeless, figure it out on my own. I have to pay rent, I have to pay utilities, all I do is make myself home. Some people prefer to live the way they're living because they just choose to live that way.
But then the question is, do they have the right to do that?
Hold on, Rich. Hold, because I ain't got 30 minutes on you right now. I got to let Kevin come in here.
Hey, Bill, sometimes you get long-winded too because you're the host.
It's his show.
Let you rock.
You ain't saying this is wrong.
Don't get sensitive, Will Smith. I ain't crushed me. You ain't slapping this shit. I don't give a fuck. Listen, I can see your big ass coming a mile away. So don't walk up on me and shit. Yo, hold on. I want to get Kevin's take. Y'all got my head hurting tonight. And shit.
We got your head hurt.
I forgot the damn question anyway.
There's probably
Go ahead, Kev. No, I remember.
your question was, you think Adams doing the right thing, and I think Eric Adams is doing the right thing. Right. Like, what do you do with him, and where do you force them to do? There's a whole bunch of reasons why people are homeless, and you have to investigate each one differently and understand it and find out. But what do you do with the guy like Rich described, who's like, I don't care. I'm not going to live anywhere. Put me in a shelter. I'm leaving. I'll live in my car. I'll live on the street. And there are people like that. You know, what do you do with them? You know, we got rid of years ago of forced institutionalizing people with mental issues. Right? We got rid of that. You know, in the 80s, I think we got rid of those. Do we need to go back to them? Do we need to start putting people back in places to force? Can you force help on somebody? But you can't have.
That's a great question.
Yeah,
have homeless encampments.
But hold on, too. I know, Rich, you worked in shelters and stuff like that. On all seriousness, like Kevin is saying, like forcing help on people. That sometimes, I guess, once you get them there, but like I think I'm not even going to sit here and try to think of what a homeless person's mentality is.
How about this way, Bill? If it was your father who was living on the street,
watch out now. I know where you live.
Would you prefer if the system was able to force him into an institution?
Well, you could. I understand.
My answer is yes.
I know, but I understand. See, I guess because the bottom line is that's such a question I couldn't answer because my father, I wouldn't even let him even get to that point. I would do everything in my power. So, but now, so let me just say this. Would you say I can't?
Sometimes you can't. Sometimes you can't.
Let him get to that point. If he wants to be where he wants to be, then what?
Then you're right. Then I would want the powers that be to make him go someplace because the bottom line is it would devastate me to see my father in the street.
No, but the only question that you got to ask is, are they a danger to someone else or themselves?
Right, or themselves.
Right? So now if they're posing a danger to themselves by choosing to live on the street and a danger to someone else, then you could talk about forcing somebody into some kind of care.
That level is the level we use today, and very few people fall into that, Rich.
Exactly. Exactly.
Because I have an aunt who she's in full blown dementia, and she has a house, and she's basically losing her mind. And me and my mother are trying to tell my cousin and sister, y'all need to go ahead, try to get legal rights to dictate the thing that she needs to do, because in the event something happens and she endanger herself or somebody else, the state gonna reserve, they test her to see that she ain't all up here and since she have dementia, the state has a right to seize everything she has and put her somewhere.
Yeah, it's a tough world. It's not.
It's very, very tough.
I don't.
People want to be on the street. Let them be out there. But then, if you let them be out there, you got to be concerned about the rest of the public.
Yeah, I think that's what's most
important. You're posing a danger to other people,
right?
And it's also it's an eyesore too. I mean, for a lot of times, you know, I mean, just not just being an eyesore, like you said, crime, a lot of things. I mean, Giuliani, Kevin and I know he was big on quality of life, which that was part of it. You know, the squeegee guys and the panhandlers, and they got rid of that when this guy named, he got a great first name, Bill, but his last name tore shit up. When he came into office, he just let it go kaput.
Yeah.
And it just, Kev, what do you call him? The great what?
The great unifier. Everybody hates him.
Let me just read some comments.
Right, Republicans, Democrats, nobody likes him.
Yeah.
I think
me
we
find the
should
squeegee guys, though, man.
and move it to hit de Blasio's block.
Word, exactly. Hold on, let me just read some comments. Tracy Morton Gordon said, the homeless ride on the bus is free all day and harass everyone. I deal with this every morning at 5:30 a.m. It's crazy and very sad. Stefania said, remember in 2020, they put the homeless in hotels like the Hilton, etc. And the people that lived in the fancy neighborhoods were pissed. They definitely were. You know what I'm saying? He really lost a lot of votes. I think his percent, his rate was about 3% or something, you know. Stefania also said, and they wanted the homeless people out of that area. Definitely. Lisa Clark said, she said, back in the 80s, I was a case manager for Volunteers of America, VOA. We had a lot of programs for the homeless, mental health, employment training, medical, and it was fairly successful. And are they still around? That's a good question. I haven't heard of that program. I think there's so many programs that were around are going for all kind of things. Eunice Collins says, in this city, we have numerous empty buildings. Owners have abandoned them, haven't paid property tax. The city and state can use these buildings for the homeless. Fix them up and have services that they need in these buildings. Part of the problem will be solved. That's a very good point. Oh, Rich, Brenda says she got your back. I know, Brenda. I know you better than you. You ain't no Jada. I know you got your man's back. You know what I'm saying? You gonna run up on stage with him. I know. Lisa Clark said, I agree with you, Kevin. Lena says some homeless people won't stay long indoors. I know I heard it's worse indoors than it is on the street, because I guess in the street you have your poison, who you can deal with and who you cannot deal with. And in them shelters, it's damn near like, I guess, a new jail, a different jail. Joy Taylor says, some say it's safer on the street than the shelter. Exactly. Lena also said, then the danger will be indoors for the other homeless people. Collins said, most of the crimes being committed today is done by the homeless. Yeah, I mean, a lot of it. Yeah, absolutely.
Do you hear Eric Adams, the mayor, talking about redoing shelters, making them safer? Like, we've heard that for years. I have limited experience with a shelter. I haven't stepped foot in one in 15, 20 years-ish, right? So I have no idea. But we live in this pretty modern era of lots of cameras. We can set up things. We can't make a shelter safe. I don't understand the concept of, why can't we have safe shelters?
Okay, well, the shelter system is, if you ask some people that are on the streets that don't want to go into them, they kind of mimic the prison system in a sense. Can you go into jail and think you could be safe from somebody robbing and raping and hurting you? No. Same thing in the shelter. People are getting raped, robbed, beat up, sold drugs to. People are using drugs next to you. all of that's going on in the shelter system. You know,
Rich, let me ask you a question. You worked in the juvenile system or the shelter system too, or was it a combination?
Listen, I've worked with the Department of Education for 35 years, and through that, in alternative ed, we would service people in shelters.
Right.
Education.
The reason why I asked, I thought you had knowledge of that. That's why I was asking.
Yeah, but I also worked part-time for foster care. Well, actually full-time, part-time, you know, for foster care as a group home supervisor.
Can I borrow $5? You got that money, huh?
I worked in a MICA program, and the MICA program is a single room occupancy for people that have substance abuse and mental illness. So they have services on site. So there's a nurse in the building that dispenses medication for those that fall into that category. Mm-hmm. And they all live in the same building. And in each building, they have like an apartment. You know, it's a single room apartment, and they control their own comings and goings. But there's staff there that buzz them in and out, check rooms periodically to make sure that everything is okay. And that's how that's supervised, you know. And shelter systems are like dormitories, open space, people come and go, somebody's sleeping next to you that maybe didn't bathe, that's getting high, and you know, it's a lot of stuff going on.
How you gonna pay for all this, and you still got people who are still waiting for money for evictions and back rent stuff?
What's wrong with your sound?
Something's wrong with your speaker, Vanetta.
It is. I don't know what's wrong.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, now
whatever you just did, that's it.
Yeah,
you started to sound like Buddy.
Now you sound. Yeah, now you sound good. You sound good. Continue.
How are they gonna pay for it? Because you still got people still waiting for, you know, affordable housing. People still waiting for money from the government to pay for their back rent. How are you gonna pay for all this? You still got businesses that still need to be rescued. You still got people who are still waiting to get a decent wage. You still got people who are still out of work due to the pandemic. How are you gonna do all this? And then you got people who are complaining. I feel the young lady was, who were saying back in 2020 when they had people in the Hilton, I believe it was, in Manhattan, that people were staying there, and the people in that particular area got pissed. So what are these people going to be? You know,
nobody wants a shelter by them. Nobody wants a jail by them. Period.
So let's really deal with the elephant in the room. Nobody really wants to see the homeless people. I mean, we all got a bleeding heart to see a homeless person out there, because some people now have taken homeless to a business. I see people, you can drive down in a certain street, and that person could be out there 7 a.m. and gone by maybe 12, or he back out there at 4 o'clock. You know, he like, it's like work for him. And
right.
and you know, to be in front of the bank on 144th and Broadway, guys there all the time. And dude, I'm like, yo, dude. I said, and I asked the dude, because sometimes you can catch me right and you can catch me wrong, and he caught me wrong. And I asked dude, I was like, yo, my man, I said, you here? I said, do you want a job? He was like, absolutely. So I said, well, why aren't you looking for one? And he was like, kind of saying, nobody's not hiring. I said, dude, I said, I'm not trying to be funny, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful by no means, right? I said, but you can go to any of these grocery stores and ask them, can you bag? You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So now I get it. Where I live, sometimes they may cater to the Latins more than the African Americans. They may cater to the Mexicans. I don't know. You know, maybe you can't even go down to Harlem and get it. Then somebody might try to take you off. I get all that. But what I don't get is, it's like you playing a psychological game, because I don't think he's homeless. I think he may be sheltered, or he's just not working. But you are able-bodied dude. And I'm honestly telling you, like, I think if I had a business where I could put him to work, I really want to see if he worked. Because let me tell you something. I want, for when I see people standing in front of stores and one time I had to catch myself. Like, man is on 126th Street, you know, across from Unity, Kev, just to give you insight. Dude, old guy came up to me. I was sitting in the car. He was like, yo, you know, can I get some money to eat? So I said, damn. I said, okay, let me, here, blame it on the heart, right? Not the street. You know what I'm saying, Rich? Not the street mental. I said, I'm blaming it on the heart. I'm saying, okay, I'm going to give the man some money, right? I thought he was going into Manners, and I was going to go right behind him. Yo, his little ass scooted on and kept walking uptown. And I'm like, see? And I wanted to say, give me back my money, OG. You know what I'm saying? I said, all right, let's take that. But you know,
there's a hustle like that for some, man.
And that's what I'm trying to say. What about the kids in front of Manners on 126? Like I said, the same one. I go there, I patronize that one. Cats, the little young kids stand out there with the sign talking about help me with the basketball. I told the kid, I said, you've been out here for 4 years and you ain't got a trophy yet. You ain't scored 1 point. You know what I'm saying? I said, what the hell is your problem?
Hey, listen,
I said, you need to find another business and shit.
Right.
And Kev, I got somebody that's coming in. I don't know if you know this person. I don't know when's the last time you seen him. Everybody, we got Pastor Kevin Graves in the building coming in here.
Hey, Pastor Graves.
Who's that?
Who is that masked man?
Hey, how you doing?
We can't see you.
How are you? Sister
How are you,
Vanetta, how you
Pastor?
doing? Kev, how you doing? Brother
Good,
Richard?
good. I miss you.
Bill. Oh,
Nice
yeah,
to
it's
see
been
you.
a minute.
It's good to see you.
Likewise.
How you feeling, Pastor?
I'm doing good, thank God. I'm just out and about running errands, since I know it's getting late. I want to wrap things up, so I'm not going to be with you long, just for about 15 minutes. So I just wanted to check in and see how everyone is doing.
Well, good. How? Be careful out there in the street. I mean,
Oh,
we
yeah,
got some updates.
especially here.
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely. You
I'd like to
know,
get your opinion on this.
Yeah. Oh, ask him, Kev.
What do you think of what Mayor Adams is doing with the homeless encampments and taking them down?
Well, as long as we have a place where they can go.
Do you know if there's a place they can go? Do you know if
there are shelters, but how safe are the shelters? Which is why many homeless choose the subways or parks, because the shelters aren't safe. And there's other reasons why people have not chosen shelters. But I don't know how he's going to address that, but we definitely need housing. And perhaps, and where the clergy come in, and I know this personally, what we're trying to do through the mayor's office is gather clergy together to help in the housing development areas. So if you, let's say, for example, let's say I have a church, but right next door to my church, there's another facility which my church owns. We can potentially use that building facility as a source of housing for the homeless. It's an idea. So that's what we're trying to do through the mayor's office, is we're trying to develop ideas, have the clergy, members of the clergy, develop ideas on how we can utilize our property, and also purchase property and develop property to use for the homeless, possibly use as a soup kitchen. So there's some things being discussed right now. But everything is still in its infancy. But it is a problem. There's no question about that. Of course, public safety remains to be an issue for us. And I was discussing this with Bill, that the Mayor Adams, as far as private sector workers go, they no longer have to be vaccinated. But my question is, and this will be my question to the mayor: what about those public sector workers that lost their jobs because they weren't vaccinated? Are you going to accommodate them? Are they going to get their jobs back? Just a question. Because if you're going to do it for the private sector, you have to do it for the public sector just the same. Mm-hmm. So, again, I don't know where he stands on this. These are all questions. And hopefully we'll get some answers, because I'm sure there's some people who work in the public sector who are saying, wait a minute, whoa. What about us? We lost our jobs because we weren't vaccinated. So can we reapply? Can we get our jobs back? And that's a legitimate question.
Yeah.
So,
what do you think about that, Kev, Rich, Vanetta?
I forgot about that, yeah.
Well, that opens up a can of worms, right? Because on the flip side of that, you had people that didn't want to get that vaccination and made a call, lose my job or get this shot. And their belief was they didn't want to get the shot, and they were forced to make a decision because they felt like they had no other choice.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's a choice being given, you know?
Hold on, Rich.
So
Rich,
now-
hold that thought. Kev, Pastor Graves, you all right? Because ain't nobody trying to come to no precinct and get you out of jail for being a little trespassing and shit. You all right?
You got Jesus. You got Jesus, man.
He
There
had
you
to
go.
look around like, wait a minute.
Yo, Rich.
No.
Yeah, Rich, we
you
gonna
know
have to go to the precinct and find out.
Nah. I'm gonna send the cloth on.
You're gonna have to cut. Oh, there we go. That's what I'm talking about.
Pastor Graves.
That's right.
It's
Let
on
me
its
get that. Let
way.
me get one of those. Let me get that.
It's coming like an Uber.
You're all right out there, wherever you are. We got a few minutes out there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Matter of
See,
fact,
when
where
I'm
are
out
you?
here, like when it
Where
comes
are
to
you?
like praying for folk, like I don't pray with my eyes closed, especially out on the street. You know, I live in the South Bronx. You know, we don't.
Where you
Got to be
at?
careful. Say again.
Pastor Graves, where are you?
I am on Tremont Avenue,
Okay.
on West Tremont Avenue. I'm in the Bronx.
He's in the Bronx. Yeah, he's
Yes,
in the Bronx.
yes. So if you know anything about the South Bronx,
Oh yeah.
Yeah. God bless you, man.
Yo, Rich, Vanetta, let me find out. He a little thug pastor. He rolled dirt.
Okay.
He in the
No.
building. PK.
that's
He
classified.
Amen.
That's classified. Not everybody's supposed to know that.
He take his little clothes off and he start walking with a bop, looking at his George Jefferson on.
Okay. Packing his nine and the word.
You gotta have a little bop.
Exactly. In
If
his
you live
Bible,
in the
bumping
Bronx,
the
you gotta have a
preacher.
little bop. You can't be walking straight in the Bronx. They'd be like,
Go ahead, Rich.
you're not
Oh,
from here.
sorry. I apologize. Yeah, I know, Rich. You were saying that it opens up a can of worms, though, in regards to like the people getting their jobs back. You know, there's so many different variables. The one thing I really do feel Eric, the mayor, is really trying to do as much as he can with the powers that he has. You know, like I said, I know he's against, bail reform to a certain degree. There's so many different variables, you know what I'm saying? Like at the time when rules come down, they were mandated to get vaccinated. People had choices. So like you said, now, I don't know, Pastor, you said, are people getting their jobs back in private sector? I don't think so. Are they?
In the
Kyrie
public
got his
sector.
job back.
Who?
Kyrie.
Yeah.
Oh, he's an entertainer. That's what. Well, see, and then there's the argument of, well, wait a second. Private sector jobs, those are the jobs that bring in the real money. Now, the thing about it now, our public sector jobs are the police, fire, sanitation. Those people, our first responders, and we need them. And I just want to make sure that whatever the mayor's office decides, it's fair for everyone, private and public sector. I want to make sure that there aren't people who feel like, wait a minute, all you care about is the private sector. And I'm sure if the mayor was here with us, he would say that's not the case. I care about everyone. I care about every New Yorker. He's responsible for, what is it, 9 million? 9 million New Yorkers.
Pastor, the one thing is he's kind of like comfortable now in his position. We're gonna have to try to get him back on. We know he's busy, he got a lot going on, but we're gonna have to get him back. But let me ask you a question. I'll go around the panel. Do you give the Pastor? I'll start with you. Do he give the police officers and whomever, the city workers that didn't take the vaccine, that got fired, does he give them their job back? Yes or no?
I don't know.
Okay. All right, let me go to Vanetta. And then we can open it up. But go, Vanetta, yes or no?
I'm kind of, I don't know. I don't.
Okay, I just want you don't know.
Yeah,
right
I don't know either.
Rich, yes or no?
I never thought they should have been fired. I always felt like they should be tested every day if they didn't want to get the vaccine.
Okay.
Tested to make sure that you're clean. But
Okay.
I never thought they should have been fired.
That's a good point.
Could I change my answer?
Hold on, we'll come back to you. We'll open it up.
Okay.
I just want to get Kev's point. Go ahead, Kev.
I think they should be hired back, all of them.
Okay.
We have learned that vaccinated or not, you still spread the virus.
Exactly.
That doesn't change at all. Vaccinated hurts you. If you're not vaccinated, you get sick, it hurts you, that's on you. To me, I treat that like smoking. You want to smoke? That's your problem. I know it's going to hurt your lungs long term. I know it'll give you cancer long term, but that's your option. You don't
What
want
about
to get
secondhand smoke, man?
You don't want to get vaccinated, but there's no secondhand smoke with vaccination. So you don't want to get vaccinated, that's on you.
Right.
It doesn't affect me. So I think people should be allowed to not be vaccinated, go back to work. We thought a year ago everybody needed to be vaccinated, that it would stop the spread. We have learned it doesn't stop it at all. Unvaccinated spreads it as much as vaccinated. So
Okay.
let them all back to work. We've gotten better. We've gotten smarter. It took time to learn this.
Vanetta, I'm gonna come to you right now, but I just want to read some comments. My aunt Pat, you know, I love you, Pat. So I just got to give you that title. She says, I believe they will get their jobs back. Junior Blake is in the building. Lena said, yes, give them jobs back. Stefania said, I'm in the private sector. You're still working from home, which I love, by the way. Hello, I know. But you haven't got vaccinated. I don't think you have, right? Stefania, if you don't mind asking. I mean, we're putting it out there. Stefania also says, I agree, because if the mandate can be lifted from the rich and the famous, then it should be lifted for the everyday person. Brenda says she knows Pastor Kevin Graves in the Boogie Down Bronx. Absolutely. Shout out to everybody chiming in, watching. This is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm the host, Bill Forster, with my co-host Kevin Branzetti and my co-host Richard Williams. We had our special guest tonight, Vanetta Harris, and chiming in. He's here every Thursday. He hasn't been here for the whole year. He's been on hiatus and doing other things and getting his G's together. Well, we got Pastor Kevin Graves hanging out with us, and Malika and I took his night the other night, and we talked about the entanglement couple. Will
That's a great laughing.
We can just end that a little bit. But Real Talk Chronicles is sponsored by the Daily Arts magazine. It's sponsored by, Ingram Taxes. It's sponsored by Melba Wilson, and it's sponsored by Leon Ellis Chocolate, Harlem Underground. Shout out to everybody. I see you, Jay Palmer. What's going on, brother? So yes, Vanetta, what's your point? What you think?
I thought it was unfair that they let people go. I thought it was totally unfair that if you don't take the vaccine, you're fired. I think if anything, what they should have done was, as Richard said previously, is if you don't want to take it, or maybe it was Kevin, if you don't want to take it, you will be tested every 3 days. If you come up positive, this is what I'm saying. If you come up positive, then you will be out for 14 days until you get a negative test, and you will miss 60% of your pay, because people still got to eat. They still got bills to pay. And I think what has happened, because this mandate has put a lot of people in the homeless situation, you probably wouldn't have been homeless. So it wasn't just a pandemic. It was just this mandate for the vaccine that this level of homelessness has been created.
Yes, and Brenda,
Bill, what was your question? I'm sorry, I answered your question. Maybe I didn't understand your question. Correct me. Your question was: should the mayor rehire?
Yes.
Should he? Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand. Yes. The officers or whomever in the public sector who lost their jobs, yes, should be rehired, because you have to level the playing field.
Right. You got to bring them in slowly. Maybe don't, if you let go of 50 people, don't bring all 50 people back. Bring them back in increments, like 10 here, 15 there, and see how things go within the business. And then I just think that this, everybody trying to save money, but if you already got billions, why are you continuing trying to save money? So you put more billions in your pocket?
If you bring them back, it'll definitely add to the manpower. So
Exactly.
Now I'm just being a little problematic with this. Do they get back pay?
No.
The union might fight that one.
Mm-hmm. They would.
I think that they put that whole thing in place because business was slow and they need to lay people off anyway. So it's like, okay, you'll get your shot. You're fine.
And it's not business. Those are city workers. That's fire department, EMS, cops. That's not business.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So no, they weren't the only ones. It's private sector.
That's what we're talking about. That's the ones the mayor controls. That's what the mayor controls, to hire them back.
But Kyrie Irving's not a city worker.
Kyrie Irving was mandated by the city's rules. that he couldn't.
Yeah, but he
And
doesn't
that was a
work
silly
for
one.
the city.
Oh, hold on. I got an excellent question. Colin asked an excellent. Pat O'Keefe Crawford said they will get their retro pay, but Collins gave an excellent point. He
Yep.
said, "Then what happens if we have another pandemic?" Which
And we have another pandemic. I mean, like we're gonna have this. This is not going away. And like I said, we learned already. Vaccinated or not, it spreads just the same. We don't stop its spread. What the vaccine does, it's not an immunization shot. It's a vaccination shot. An immunization shot is something we got for polio. Got rid of polio. Done. This is a vaccination. The only thing it can do for you is give you more antibodies to help you fight it when you get it. That's it. It doesn't stop you from spreading it. So it's only self-protection. It doesn't hurt the community, your coworker, your neighbor, if you're not vaccinated. So I got no issue with anybody. I'm vaccinated. I'll continue to get yearly boosters. I'm not going to get them crazily every 3 months when they come out. I'll get them once a year.
So let me ask a question.
I'm with Kevin Fauci.
Huh?
I'm with Kevin Fauci.
Yeah.
Look, you got to
Hey, Kev, I didn't know you were an expert in
Exactly. So let me ask you all a question. Right now, they're coming out with the thing for Omicron. It's they really, I think they're mandating it for people 65 and over, but anybody 50 and over is optional. Anybody want to take it?
What did you say?
I said
the fourth shot.
The fourth
it's
shot.
It's not mandated.
I think it's not what I'm saying mandated. I'm just saying they're suggesting for people.
You're eligible for it. You're eligible for it.
Okay, eligible. Thank you, Rich. Thank you.
Thank God I'm not 50 yet. I'm not eligible.
Oh, Kev, I think you just got 50. You stop playing. We got you. You joined the ranks, Kev. You in here?
My man. Yo, we only got one white guy on our show, man, and you got to be all of them. So.
Yeah. Somebody.
We got two now.
Somebody
got two. All right. Just remember that.
Yeah, we got it. Please,
Oh,
people out there,
that's Buddy.
If you know anybody that wants to be on this show, Real Talk Chronicles, we got Kev and Will Farrell. All we need is what's his name, C. Scott. We got the Step Brothers in this joint. You know what I'm saying?
Next week I'll bring a different one.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean,
Richard, you started some trouble now. You know that with these props.
Uh-oh.
You started.
So I know. Before we get out of here, I know Vanetta and Pastor Vanetta and I. We've been still conversing about Jada and Will and Chris Rock, and I know Pastor and I had a long, extensive talk about it. I'm really done with them. I feel it. Rich, I didn't even ask you what you thought about the whole scenario. But I mean, I can give you guys, we only got like 7 minutes left. We can let you guys talk about it. The one thing we just got the news I sent to Vanetta that the Oscar committee is thinking about. They asked Will Smith to leave. Will was straight gangster that night. He even told them that he wasn't leaving. And the question is, I don't know if I think they might have sanctions on him where he may never come back to the Oscars or stuff like that. But first and foremost, Rich, what did you think about the whole situation? If you care, you don't care. I really don't care anymore. Like I said, because after tonight, I'll never talk about it unless he got arrested or something, or Chris Rock got some courage and well, not courage, because I really think Chris Rock definitely held his high. He was a bigger man than me. He really was. Because he'd have been still fighting on that stage right now. There's no way in hell you can slap me. And Rich, Rich, we old school. You don't slap no man. You know what I'm saying, Rich? So, Rich, give me some insight, and then I'll go to Vanetta and I don't know if Kevin, if you even care, or Pastor Graves, and we'll let them close out with it. Go ahead.
Well, my insight is just like you said, it would have never happened to me, but on a national stage like that whole Oscar award thing, the hosts like Chris Rock and all these people that come on that are comedians, that's what they do. They poke fun at people that are in the audience that are in the industry.
Yes.
Right? But from what I understand, this is some ongoing beef between him, Will, and Jada. That Chris always makes these jokes towards Jada, and they caught feelings behind it. And he's not the. And we had this. I had this talk before I got on the show with some people in the hood, and that all comedians get confronted with their jokes. I mean, in that kind of way, you know, a lot of comedians, you don't hear about it, but people come after these guys for jokes that they feel are across the line. Should Will have done what he did? Hell no. Should Chris Rock have taken that ass whipping? Hell no. But he took the higher ground, didn't retaliate, and I think it's because he really didn't smack him as hard as it looked, you know, but he should have never been subjected to that. So I think what should happen is that Chris Rock should be compensated by not just Will Smith, also by the Academy, because his safety was in their hands. Now, they may not have known that Will was going to do what he did, but the minute Will went off script and started walking on stage, somebody should have been there to either stop it or after he did it, detain him, because that was a criminal act. Now, most people didn't know, like me, that whether this was real, was it a joke? You know, because when it first happened, Will laughed at it. And then all of a sudden, he's on the stage swinging and smacks Chris and walks away, smiling like it was part of it. And then Chris made a joke. Oh, Will just slapped the shit out of me, you know? And not until he went back to his seat and started blurting out the profanity of keep my wife's mouth out, name out your fucking mouth, that's when everybody knew that it really wasn't a joke. It wasn't part of the script. But again, I think Chris Rock should be compensated by the Academy and Will Smith. Right? Will Smith should have been arrested.
I'm gonna let Pastor Graves come in because I know we talked a lot about this. Pastor, what's your take on it?
I was embarrassed by it. This was an opportunity. Well, I'll even add to what Richard just said. This is more than just about alopecia. Will said that he was defending his wife and he protects his family. Okay, that's fine. But this was more than about alopecia, because as Richard said, initially he laughed at the joke. Now, some may say, well, he was trying to play it off. Okay. I know one thing. If Jada Pinkett Smith, if she was my wife, right, and I know her emotional state and how she feels regarding her condition and how much it has taken a toll on her, I'm not laughing at that. I'm just talking about me. That's my opinion. So, as Richard said, this is a culmination of things which led to, okay, Will laughs, probably turns, sees the expression on his wife's face, says, oh, okay, now I got to address this. But what's even more sad for me is that Will missed an opportunity to be a spokesperson for his wife's condition, alopecia awareness, because chances are there were probably some people who were in the audience suffering from alopecia. We don't know. Maybe people watching suffering from the same condition. He could have been a spokesperson for them. He says, you know what? You made a reference, Brother Chris, to G.I. Jane, Demi Moore's character. But let me tell you something about G.I. Jane. She was an overcomer. And my wife, too, is an overcomer. And for everyone who's suffering from this condition, you, too, can be an overcomer. You can get through this. Alopecia doesn't have to define the rest of your existence. It's a hair condition, okay? And regardless of that, you can still go on to live a productive life. You can still go on being a better person and say, you know what? My hair doesn't define who I am. Yes, I lost my hair, but it doesn't define. It doesn't indicate or tell people that, wow, this is who you are. So if I was Will, and I'm not, and again, I know the emotions were high, he could have used that moment to maybe put his arm around Chris and say, this is actually no joking matter. And he could have even said, well, look, brother, I was actually going to come up here and do something else, but I too am going to take the high ground. And I want to talk about the seriousness and the emotional state of individuals who are suffering from this condition. That we need to talk about right now. So let's address that. And I know this is what we do. We joke and we tease one another. And I understand that, but this is a serious moment. And I think we need to address this serious moment right here. And that would have been a great opportunity for him to take that approach. And, if you want to talk to him, I'm not saying be physical or anything like that, but if you want to address whatever else needs to be addressed behind the curtain after the ceremony, that's a different story. Say, look, we have issues. Let's bury this right now. Brother, we can't go on, fighting and arguing with one another. It doesn't look good. The optic on this doesn't look good. So that would have been nice too. Maybe I'm being idealistic, but I'm just saying that it was more than just alopecia that set that man off.
Jada looked good though. I got to say that.
And she still looks good, even though, right? Even with bald, she still looks good. And that's my point, is that you can still look good and not have any hair. You can still be productive and not have hair.
Kev, what's your take on it, bro? Do you have one?
Is it bad that I thought it was fake?
Mm-hmm.
His Will Smith smirk after he walked off the stage. I'm sitting here watching slow motion of it. I don't know. Yeah. It did get us all talking about the Oscar awards that I do not care the slightest about. Right? Like it's a bunch of rich people giving each other awards, patting each other on the back. They can all kiss my butt. Like I don't.
Yeah. Everybody pinching each other's butt. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like too much of that, and they have like 10 award shows.
Yeah.
But it got us talking about them. Yeah. His smirk afterwards.
You know what's funny, Kev? When he smirked, when I looked at it and I did my little Sigmund Freud on it, he smirked it. It was over. Pat said she thought it was fake. Brenda said definitely for Jada with the beauty within. But when he walked away and he was smirked, I thought it was smirking like he knew he could do it and Chris wasn't going to react. You know what I'm trying to say? I felt like that was real. That was real bully. That's why I have such a big. I'm gonna let Vanetta chime in. I'm gonna close it out.
Back to look at him.
Yeah,
he didn't even turn around and look to see if he was going to come get him.
Yeah, that's when you kind of knew, like, yo, you hitting the person that's nonviolent. Vanetta, you and I have had a discussion.
That wasn't Dwayne Johnson today, right?
And you can elaborate if you want, sis, on whatever we.
So I confided in Bill about a situation I dealt with. So if you see my face, you see how I have spots in my face.
Adjust yourself. Your volume went different.
Your volume went again.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, there you go. There you go, there, girl.
Hi. So if you look at my face, you'll see there's spots on my face. They used to be worse. They used to cover my cheeks. Used to cover my whole entire nose. It was around my mustache here and on my chin, around my forehead. Now, it started out as a little spot on my face in 2010, 2011. It got aggressively worse to the point, it's called melasma. I was diagnosed with having melasma. It's overproduction of melanocytes in my face. Nothing that I did wrong or right caused it. It just happens that some women get it. What doesn't help me is laying out in the sun, which I did on a regular basis. I continued to lay out in the sun because I didn't know what it was until it started really taking over my face. When it happened, I started wearing makeup. I wasn't a person who wore makeup. I started wearing makeup, but then I would see the stares, people looking at my face. People didn't know that I would come home and I would just be in tears sometimes, wondering what the heck is happening to my skin. Like, what did I do wrong? What have I been eating? to go to a dermatologist, 2 dermatologists to say that I have melasma. They're not sure if it's so. There's layers to where you can use a topical cream at a certain percentage to kind of literally take the spots off. If it's not strong enough, then you have to upgrade it, and it can end up affecting your skin and burning your skin. It's not covered by insurance because it's a cosmetology work. So I was stressed out over it because I would be so embarrassed until I see people looking. So when it happened, after a few years going by, I was just like, listen, I'm just gonna be the opposite of Michael Jackson. But no one never knew what I was suffering with at home. Because you would see me out laughing and talking, when I would see people, it's like, here we go. You know, like, okay, I'm not.
The volume's getting bad.
I empathize with.
Vanetta, your volume.
Okay, let me just take my phone. Okay. Is that better?
Sometimes it goes wacky. It's funky.
I don't know why it does that. So I kind of empathize with what Jada is feeling, because I had to go through that. And that, to be honest, the first time I'm publicly speaking about it, and it's the first time I even confided to anything about how I felt about it. Now, if it was during a time where I wasn't in a place that I'm at now, and Chris would have said something to me like that, I might have done what Will did. I ain't going front, because you don't know the suffering I've had to deal with. You don't even know what I had to go through just to get up every day to come out to see people staring at my face. You don't know, but then I got to a point of like, listen, this is what it's going to be. This is what's going to be. I ain't care. I started wearing a hat to the beach because I'm in the sun, but then eventually I did find something. Now, my stuff is treatable.
But let me just interject for a second, Vanetta, and I totally understand what you're saying, because what you're dealing with is very visible. No less than with Jada, because if you saw Jada and didn't know about alopecia or
you wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know. You just think she's just a pretty bald-headed woman, or that woman that likes to wear crop low. Now,
right.
What? And I told Pastor this. If he referenced G.I. Jane, right? She was a strong woman. She persevered and jumped obstacles and did all her business. So anything, Jada could have been on some. You're right. I am G.I. Jane. I'm that BITCH. You know what I'm trying to say? She could have took that approach. So what she didn't do is, now it's one thing if somebody was talking to you, you're in the audience with Pastor, myself, Kevin, we're your husband, or Rich, and we're sitting there, and then somebody says, "Yeah, Vanetta, you're coming out with the next movie of the Dalmatians or something, or some Spotty, something like that." Now that's
I've been heated.
That's
I've been mad as hell.
No, but see what I'm trying to say? That is definitely directing it at your
right.
Impairment, right?
Right.
It's impairing your skin tone. Now, I'm saying, I'm stepping up. I'm sure any of these men here and be like, "Yo, dog, that's disrespectful, and I'm gonna see you after the show," right?
Right.
But see, no, if because Chris Rock, we don't know if he's friends with Jada on Instagram, or he even cares, right? So we don't know if he knows about that, because the bottom line is we under the assumption, because we follow these people, that other celebrities follow these people. Listen,
Right.
I saw a thing one time when Denzel told Jamie Foxx was like, "Yeah, I was in this movie, something Sleepless or something," and Denzel was like, "Oh, you did another movie?" And Jamie Foxx was like, "Damn, Denzel." Denzel was like, "I'm sorry, I just, I
didn't know.
I don't follow people like that." You know what I'm saying? Denzel's the chief, so he don't care about what the Indians are doing. So I say all that to say, something that's so personal like that, or if somebody says, "Oh, yo, listen, so and so, you're a little fat butterball. You're going to be in Alfred Hitchcock 2 or something like that," where you really, or a person like the President Trump made fun of the person with the impairment or the speech or the hand. Those are the people
I should get slapped.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Was tasteless.
See,
that was tasteless.
But for somebody like this situation, I mean,
I think she took it the opposite way, because she knows she's suffering from that, so she didn't see it as being humorous. She saw it as being like, I have alopecia. I didn't just wake up one day just want to slip on my hair off.
Yeah,
Did you look at her shit? And when he first started talking, she just smiled, but then he made that joke. As soon as she made that joke, her face dropped.
No, she ain't do all that drop. She just did like yeah, all right, whatever, money.
Well, at
Because
first
the
she
thing
did,
is,
but if you look
Side
at
eye.
it again,
She-
her face kind of dropped and
but
she
hold on,
just looked.
she side-eyed it. But the thing is, she was laughing at his jokes earlier when he was talking about everybody else. She was
Mhm.
keying
That
with
one was
everybody. And then the thing is, when he said it about G.I. Jane, Will thought the shit was funny.
He definitely laughed.
He
Yeah, he
thought
laughed.
it was funny, and then all of a sudden,
He looked at her and she's
when
like,
he
that
realized
crap
that
ain't funny.
she was feeling a certain way, then
Mhm.
all of a
Right.
sudden, we're looking like he's coming up. But let me just read some comments real quick.
Mhm.
What's up, Natasha? I see you in the building. Lena said it was a good movie, G.I. Jane. Lisa Clark said exactly, Bill. Again, it's not a disease, not life-threatening or painful. She can afford the best life-like wigs. Exactly. Colin Clark said, I'm a 3-time cancer survivor, currently going through my four being a survivor dialysis, 7 years kidney transplant, 6 months ago, and living my best life with a bald head.
Mm.
There's no place for violence. Wow. She ain't got his shit. You know what I'm saying? And I talk to
Right.
Colin a lot. So and I know he living his best life. Eunice said he did not know of her condition. Lena said Will was over the top to walk on over that. Now I'm just going Joy Taylor said, God bless, hanging in. Now I'm just gonna say this and I'll open it up and then we'll close out. Give everybody 2 minutes. I thought it was the most disgraceful thing for a black man to go slap another black man on TV. Right? I thought it was the first show produced by another black man, and then you want to act out. I think it just set a precedence that right now, if the golden child, Will Smith, can slap somebody on stage, we're going to start. It's going to be a trend now. We're going to see people slapping people just to be slapping people. You know what I'm saying? They don't like what they say. Somebody going to feel they're going to go on stage. You're going to have kids going up stage slapping kids and teachers at graduations because they're going to say something that they don't feel they like or something. I think it set a terrible precedent. I think right now it just pushed us back. You know, Jada, you got riff with Chris because he didn't boycott the Oscars in 2016, and that's where a lot of this beef started. So yeah, he may have poked the bear sometimes and joked and talked about, yeah, Will didn't get nominated for an Oscar, but he took that $20 million. You wasn't boycotting that.
Nope.
I say all that to say that Will, if you the golden child and you talking about peace, love, and all that, right now you done told every thug and anybody else that it's all right to do that, and then you're gonna say sorry. I commend Chris. I will rock with Chris Rock right now because he did something better than me. He did something. He really did. Pastor even told me. He said, "Yo, I don't know if I would have been able to take that." So
Right.
Yeah,
I don't think
admire
no
him.
man be able to take
I
that.
admire him for taking that stand.
Kev, he shouldn't have did that to a white guy either.
Thank you.
He should have did it. He should have did
Thank
it.
you. I was going to ask that question. You saw my head shake. I'm like,
It is wrong regardless of race.
But listen, Kev,
I'm with you.
I'm not.
I'm with you,
I
Kevin
know what you
Fauci.
meant, Bill. I know what you meant.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not condoning violence or anything, but I will say this: since Rich wanted to just poke the bear, I bet you if he went up there and slapped Ben Stiller or Jerry Steinfeld, I bet you his ass be right now in jail in L.A. County. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Sure would.
Right.
Well, being that you said that, LAPD is ready to pounce if Chris Rock gives the word. But apparently, from what I understand, or at least from
He's
what
not pressing charges.
he's not going to press charges. But he said if you decide to press charges at a later date, we will investigate.
I mean, it's sad all the way around. I mean, I don't condone violence. I was telling Bill that, I really prayed about the whole situation and some of the things I said. Do I think he was right in stepping up for his wife? Absolutely. I think the way he went about it was right? No. Because you disgraced yourself and everybody, including, even though your intentions may have been right. But how many of us have done that? Maybe not specifically that thing, but how many of us have made impulsive decisions? He was like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. Like you did it tonight.
But let me just say that I got to ask you, when you say he stepped up for his wife, and I hear people say this, stepped up what? I mean, like you was on the show with us when we had Brooklyn Mike last night. I mean, Monday night. And Brooklyn Mike said there's a comedian that berates them, disrespects both of them. and Will ain't saying nothing or anything to him. So that's what I'm trying to say as the bully. We all know bullies pick on who they know they can pick on. And that's where my issue was at. I have an issue that, listen, the bully picks on who he can think he can get away with until what did my parents, your parents, everybody say, yo, don't let nobody pick on you. Don't come home and tell me somebody hit you and you didn't hit them back. See, I'm saying, even though Chris Rock, might have been taught that, but because he's not a violent man or a fighting man, he didn't put himself in that situation. That's why I respect him, because he stayed in his lane and he didn't just try to fight, because maybe he just
fight back.
Maybe he can't fight back.
Maybe he can't fight.
You know, but the thing is, that doesn't mean because somebody can't fight. And this is why
you take advantage of that.
I've lost a lot of respect for Will Smith, because let me tell you something. You hit somebody that you knew kind of deep down in your heart that either you knew you could beat, you thought you could beat, or you knew he wasn't going to fight you back. And that's my biggest problem with this. So I don't understand when it's talking about he protected Jada, because Jada wasn't in no danger.
No, she wasn't in no danger, but
it was her expression.
Your wife. Did you see your wife and see the hurt in her face? I mean, was it an impulsive decision? It was impulsive. It was disgraceful. He could have handled it.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Kevin.
What did Kevin say?
You said she should have smacked Will for laughing.
Well,
exactly.
Well,
like what the hell you laughing
might have to
at?
answer to that.
You know the
situation.
situation.
You find that
is
funny?
to her.
Right.
That was
a good point.
That he was the bad guy twice.
Yeah.
Laughed. She should have slapped him.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it was just bad all the way around. I mean, no one won. No one. Chris didn't win. Will obviously didn't win, and it's Jada.
And people of color lost, and we lost. We all lost. And
yeah. I mean, I ain't lose nothing because I don't give a darn. I ain't getting no money.
What I'm trying to say is we lost. Listen, we talk about equality, right? We're sitting at the table, right? Now we're sitting at the table. We're getting recognized. I mean, I'm not, like I said, after tonight, I'm not talking about this shit. You know
right? Yeah, I was over.
Yeah, I think we spent too much time on this already, man. I'm sitting in the car for Will right now. I'm sitting in the car for
Hey, Bill, I gotta go.
Right? Hold on. I'm gonna let. Yo,
I'm done.
Exactly.
I will say this.
I
will say this, and I'm gonna be done.
You want to give us any parting comments while you're out there?
Hey, say a prayer for us, Reverend.
Oh, absolutely.
Pastor Greg, say a prayer for us. We need it.
I would just say I would hope, and again, and as soon as these words come out of my mouth, I'm going to be tried, is that we have to learn. I'm going to quote my favorite activist and leader, Dr. Martin Luther King. He said, as a society, we have not learned to disagree without being violently disagreeable. And I hold to those words, and I said, Lord, give me the strength to do what Chris Rock did. Should someone slap me in my face or disrespect?
Yo, Pastor, this is real talk. If Will Smith would have walked on stage and slapped you at the pulpit or something like that, what would you have did?
Read him the 91st Psalm.
You know what?
I don't know what I would have done.
Right,
Bill, he would have turned into Buck and the Preacher.
Absolutely.
You know what we have to do too?
Like,
you know we
have to pray that we can have that kind of demeanor that
right.
Chris Rock exhibited.
And that's what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
It
did. Because I ain't gonna lie, if my spots was bad as they were at one point in time and he didn't heckled me, I don't know what I would have done. I really, really don't. What if you knew if I had or not? I really don't know what I would have done. I might have been like, you know what? You need to shut your mouth up and get with somebody else. Or I might just walk up to the stage with me and my heels off, walk up to the stage and went whap. And then the next time I was like, what the heck I done done? I done smacked this man on the Oscars. My career's over. I just prayed that for all of them that you know they get some kind of insight into themselves concerning this whole situation.
You said all of them? So
Yes.
you still.
No. Listen. Let me finish. You better jump on me. Get insight. First of all, fact that as far as Chris is concerned, he may have said something that was offensive, but I don't think it was malicious. It wasn't malicious. He made a joke. It may have hit a nerve. You know, I'm not asking comedians not to be comedians because then now you're locking their hands, and then now they can't be funny.
Okay,
But
you know what's so funny? You and I are going to talk. We're going to talk offline because the one thing I don't want to hold this up, but the thing is, like you said, he may have said something that he didn't mean to be malicious. So when somebody says something that didn't mean to be malicious, we got to give them a chance to apologize. We just don't go around slapping everybody that doesn't.
Right. I totally agree.
So I mean, because what's the difference? Somebody steps on my sneaker. Remember when we were younger, somebody stepped on your sneaker and then you start fighting when you was
like, what?
Yeah. So I mean, when does it stop? When do people grow up? You know,
you
know what I'm trying to say?
His mom, did you see the thing with his mom? His mom said she has never seen her son. Will's mom said I've never seen my son act like this.
Because she know he's soft. With a
hey, listen, man, can we stop talking about this guy, man?
I'm with you, Richard.
But I gotta go. Here. It's like we stuck.
Oh no, we're not stuck. We're gonna say goodnight.
Okay,
we done. Pastor, pray us out. You know.
Okay.
Well, hold on. Before we pray us out. Everybody, is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Forster, with my co-host Kevin Branzetti and Richard Williams. We had a special guest, Vanetta Harrison, tonight. It's always good to see Pastor Kevin Graves. He's part of Real Talk on the fourth Monday of the month. The show is sponsored by Daily Arts Magazine, Daily Arts of Survival Magazine. You can get it on Amazon. It's sponsored by Ingram Taxes. It's also sponsored by Melba Wilson, 114th in Frederick Douglass, and it's sponsored by Chocolate on 120th in Frederick Douglass and Harlem Underground. I appreciate everybody chiming in, your comments. People got more comments and they're saying stuff. Please, if you're on YouTube, subscribe to it if you haven't. If you're on Facebook, share it so people can see it. Thank you all for chiming in. It was great seeing you. Pastor, anybody got any positive words of affirmation, or we just gonna let Pastor pray us out?
I just love each other more and hate less. It's too heavy of a burden to carry, as we've seen.
Yeah, Rich, you got any positive words you want to share?
Oh man, we just got to do better, man. That's all.
Yeah.
Kev,
learn to disagree. That's it.
I didn't hear what you said.
Just learn to disagree with each other. There's nothing. You see us tonight. We disagree at times, and then next thing you know, we're playing with puppets and laughing our butts off.
Really?
Yeah, mine's just real. I don't know what you're talking about. This is real.
Yo, let Pastor Graves pray us out, y'all.
Lord God, we thank you for another segment of Real Talk Chronicles. We ask that, Lord, you would impart in us your wisdom, your peace to know how to handle difficult circumstances. Lord, we ask that, Lord, you would impart in us your spirit, your understanding, Lord. For, Lord, you have not called us to be a people who are violent towards one another, but you have called us to be violent to those concerning things of the spirit realm. We ask for a double portion of discernment in knowing who we're fighting. Lord, I decree and declare, as your word says, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers of darkness, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Lord, we know that the enemy is going about seeking whom he may devour. And we know that his assignment is to steal from us, to kill us. And that is his assignment, to steal, kill, and destroy. And we ask that, Lord, you would give us discernment, Lord, to discern who is our true enemy. And we thank you for this spirit of discernment. We thank you for what you're doing in Real Talk Chronicles, and Bill Foster and Malika, Lord, and Kevin and Richard and Vanetta. Lord, we thank you for everyone who took the time to tune in to Real Talk Chronicles, Lord. I thank you for allowing me to be a part of the vision of Bill and Malika, Lord. I thank you for what you're doing now and for what you're about to do on Real Talk Chronicles, a place where people can come and be transparent, where we can come and talk and laugh and also heal. And We ask that you would continue to use this platform for your glory and for your honor. We give you all the glory, all of the honor and praise. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Praise God.
And definitely, Pastor, if you get a chance, reach out to Chuck Richards. Like I said, people send some prayers, some hearts his way. He lost his mother-in-law, so we got to give prayers to that.
Condolences.
Shout out to the Green family, and also to Malika's girlfriend, Gary. I think her last name is Harden, if I'm correct. A lot of death, a lot of funerals and wakes I'll be attending this weekend and next week. So everybody have a beautiful night. We'll see you next week, Monday. You know, Be safe, be careful, please. It's supposed to be 70 tomorrow. So, you know, ladies, before you come out there, if you want to try to put on them sandals, make sure you got your toes did. Knock it off. Don't hit me, nobody and shit. You know what I'm saying? Good night, everybody.
Have a good night.
We're going
to the green
room.
God bless.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.